Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm Dr. Jack Singer. Many of you have heard my webinars before. This again will be well worth your while as I'm going to be teaching you 3 proven psychological secrets for becoming a champion insurance producer. Now, psychological secrets, not the typical kind of workshop that you're used to. I promise that taking your valuable time to listen to this exclusive webinar will have an immediate impact, not only on your job, but in your life, because what I'm going to teach you is applicable to everybody, whether it's work-related or not. In short, you're going to learn how to release yourself from the shackles of self-limiting beliefs that have prevented your true ability and potential from coming to the surface. We all have potential. Most of us don't express that potential. And today I'm going to be talking about uncovering the reasons for why we don't do it and what we can do about it. For those of you who haven't attended any of my webinars before, let me just give you a brief introduction of who I am. I am not a financial services professional. I'm a consultant for financial services professionals, but actually I come from a background of 37 years as a professional sports psychologist, having worked with 3 Olympic gold medal winners, with many world-class athletes, and with hundreds of professional athletes. That's my background. And at one point in 2008, I decided that financial professionals also have the mindset of a champion, but most of them don't express it. So they need to learn the same blueprint for success that I've been teaching to winners around the world for so many years. So I really pivoted my career and moved from athletes to financial professionals, to help all financial professionals to develop a winner's mindset and release the true potential that lies within. You see, I believe that every single one of you has the potential to be a sales winner, but that potential will lie dormant under layers of self-doubt, lack of self-confidence, fear of failure. All of these things can be removed and can be changed. So that's really important for you to understand. I do webinars, as you know. I do keynotes. I do professional coaching and mentoring, confidential coaching and mentoring. I have a 12 continuing education course. We'll talk about discounts you can get on all of these things. And I have a book, The Financial Advisor's Ultimate Stress Mastery Guide, that I wrote. And I will be telling you at the end of this workshop how you can get a free copy of the book. That sounds like a good reason for coming by itself. So let's talk about, we're going to talk about the psychological obstacles that get in the way of people from performing their best at every time, at every opportunity. So let's begin. Now, what would define you as a champion producer? Here are some ideas. You consistently perform your best when it matters the most. You have the ability to bring your A game to all sales situations. And you have the ability to bounce back quickly from adversity, such as losing a sale or being criticized by a supervisor or a client or failing to meet a quota. These are all issues that happen to everybody, but how do you bounce back? The true list of who a champion is how they bounce back from adversity, not avoiding adversity. Nobody can really avoid adversity. By the way, there are 3 amazing bonuses that I'm going to give you just for attending today. Bonus 1, if you decide to take my masterclass, Proven Psychological Secrets for Attaining Super Sales Success, which is an advanced version of this. It goes into much more detail. This is the exact same blueprint for success that I've taught to 3 Olympic gold medal winners and hundreds of professional world-class athletes. That's normally a $327 workshop, masterclass. But you'll be able to get it for $47 if you sign up today. After that, it goes back to $327. Bonus number 2, you'll be able to get a major discount on my unique client event. Client event, yes. I produce a client event that guarantees to pack the house and bring in a ton of potential new clients because it's a highly valued event. My program is called How to Live Much Longer Than Your Kids Hoped You Would. It's a funny title, but a serious subject. It's really all about the psychology of life extension. So who wouldn't want to have to come and hear a nationally known psychologist talk about how to live longer and better? You can imagine it packs the house. They all bring guests. drives a ton of new clients directly to you who are impressed that you have that much concern for your clients that you would do this. And I'm giving a $2,000 discount for anybody attending this webinar today. Bonus 3, if you want to open more doors and close more business, and at the same time earn 12 continuing education credits, plus get a major discount with my game-changing new course, online course, How to Quickly Develop the Mindset of a Champion Insurance Producer and Advisor. I'll be giving a $300 discount package for anyone who comes today. Again, at the end, you'll find out how to get all these discount packages by contacting me and letting me know. And a super bonus, I'm happy to provide anyone here with a free confidential phone coaching session. Most people don't ever get to talk to the person before they start paying for it. I'm happy to give a free coaching session to anybody attending this webinar today, and that's where you can schedule your session. http://bit.ly/free chat with Dr. Jack, Dr. Jack. And that's how you can get a free coaching session with me, which I'm happy to provide for anybody. Now, how does my training differ? My training really differs because traditional sales training, as you know, focuses on skill sets for prospecting, for handling objections, for closing. And that training doesn't teach you how to develop the mental and emotional fitness, which is crucial for self-confidence and ultimate success. You know, it's your mental and emotional fitness that really makes the difference between success and just average performance. Nobody addresses that. That's why I saw the need to come in and start working with financial professionals. Here's a formula to remember. This will probably be eye-opening for you. All sales performance, success, failure, whatever sales performance we're talking about, it always equals your experience plus your knowledge plus your skill sets minus distractions. That's the key. What is the minus? Distractions are anxiety, fear, lack of confidence. All of these things are caused by toxic self-talk. And that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, would it surprise you to know that your sales and prospecting disappointments are not caused by these kinds of things? Procrastinating or avoiding making cold calls. They're not caused by fear of rejection. Your disappointments are not caused by the competition or direct sales via the internet. They're not caused by a lack of product knowledge or not knowing how to answer questions. They're not caused by negative stereotypes that some people have regarding insurance professionals. No, your disappointments are not caused by any of these things. Developing superior sales success is not based on your selling talent. It's not based on your selling knowledge. It's not based on your selling experience. It's not based on your closing techniques. It's not based on how you prospect for new clients. It's not even based on your personality type. So you say to yourself, my goodness, my success, my sales success is not based on any of these things. Then what is it based on? Here's the key, ladies and gentlemen. The key is sales and prospecting disappointments are actually caused by, and the same as sales success, is caused by toxic self-talk about the lack of sales skills or experience you may have. Toxic self-talk about prospecting. Toxic self-talk about failed sales situations. You see, it's always what you say to yourself, ladies and gentlemen, that determines whether you're going to be successful or not. It's not the situation. It's not those things that I just talked to you about. It's not your closing techniques. It's not your prospecting skills. It's not your selling talent. It's not your selling knowledge. It's not your selling experience. But it's toxic self-talk that you give yourself about these things that causes the disruption. Remember, I told you that success equals your talent, your experience, your knowledge, minus distractions. The toxic self-talk is the major form of distraction that we have. Now, Steve, that's not his real name, but this is one of the clients that I had. He was ready to quit the insurance business. He felt stuck. He felt helpless. He couldn't understand why colleagues with less experience and less drive outperformed him. He had a really good work ethic, Why was everybody outperforming him? He found himself procrastinating in his prospecting. He was dealing with self-doubt and loss of confidence, and he constantly engaged in negative, self-defeating conversations in his head. This is what I mean by toxic self-talk. Negative, self-defeating conversations that we all have in our heads. That's what we have to take charge of. It's never the situation that you're in that causes your problem. It's how you interpret it, what you say to yourself about that situation. And that's the issue that Steve had. We'll talk more about Steve later. So the first secret for understanding how to maximize your performance, to bring that real potential to the surface, the first secret is understanding, recognizing your toxic self-limiting core beliefs and your resultant toxic self-talk. Core beliefs are beliefs that we've had since we were children. They're usually instilled by our parents and other important people in our lives. And many of these things are simply a reflection of the fears and concerns that our parents had. They're not based on anything that's real, but yet we don't know that, so we go on and on subconsciously believing these things. For example, if I'm not perfect, I'm a failure. Or I need to be liked by everybody, or I'll feel like a failure. Or I'm not as good as everyone thinks I am. Or if I can't predict a good outcome, I should avoid the situation. To try to avoid difficulty, I need to fly under the radar. And I need to avoid confrontations at all costs. Many of you have a lot, if not all, of these ideas in your mind that are buried in your subconscious mind. And all of these are self-defeating, toxic, lead to toxic self-talk, and remove you from success. They subtract your ability to be successful. So this is the key of what we're talking about here today, and the key that I want you to understand. By the way, you can send a question in through Q&A at any time. I will get to it. We'll stop at certain points for questions, and I'll ask for some more at the end. I want to make sure that I've gotten all of your questions answered, or certainly you can contact me afterward and get specific questions answered if they're not answered here. So you see, it all starts with your mindset. Remember, all sales performance equals your sales experience plus your knowledge plus your skill sets minus distractions like anxiety, fear, lack of confidence, and that's all caused by toxic self-talk. So we know, what do we know? We know from psychology, this is one of the biggest discoveries in the last 50 years in psychology, that self-talk sets you up for success or failure. That the mood that someone's in, the attitudes they have, is never caused by a situation they're in. It's never caused by an event. It's caused by the self-talk about that event that sets you up. And it's always your positive or negative thoughts and your self-talk that lead to either success or failure. You know my background is working with elite athletes. So you take two athletes with the exact same skills, with the exact same training, with the exact same physical ability. Why is one better than the other? Because when they're in a situation, whether it's a race, a game, a contest, whatever you call it, a match, a golf match, you name it, when they're in the situation, it's the self-talk that's different. How does the golfer deal with hitting the ball into the water the first time versus the golfer who doesn't hit it in the second time, but the first one does again? How does the football quarterback deal with worrying about footsteps versus the one who doesn't think about that and focuses on what he needs to be doing? How does the gymnast focus on the next event without worrying about the past event in which she didn't perform as well as she could? It's always your self-talk about the situation that causes the problems, not the situation itself. So the number one cause of average producer performance as opposed to great producer performance is maintaining these iceberg core belief habits. And I call them iceberg because we're only aware of a little bit of it above the surface. Most of this is subconscious, like an iceberg. Most of it's below the water. It's these iceberg core beliefs. I need to be perfect. I'm not as good as people think I am. I should avoid confrontations. Don't make waves. Fly under the radar. These are the things that lead to what I call linguistic toxicity. self-defeating, negative, pessimistic self-talk. That's what comes out of these things, which is the core of our problem. And your self-limiting beliefs and the resulting toxic self-talk leads to these kinds of negative attitudes: feeling not in control, feelings of low self-esteem, feeling overwhelmed by failures, feeling helpless to change anything, having pessimistic expectations about the future instead of optimistic expectations. These attitudes will always prevent the real champion from rearing its head. They'll always keep you from performing your best. But the good news is these things are all under your control. That's what you need to understand. We can change these things. Here's an example of a situation or event that could lead to toxic self-talk in your career. Let's say a prospect changes his or her mind about committing to your product or service. You think that could lead to toxic self-talk? That you could beat yourself up in your head saying, I must have screwed up, this must be my fault? Let's say your manager gives you a quota for the month or quarter. Do you think that could lead to toxic self-talk? Like, what if I don't make it? Or I hope I make it, or the manager's going to be upset, or maybe this isn't the career for me. Or you compare yourself to colleagues who are performing much better than you are. You think that could lead to toxic self-talk? Like, wow, I am really not as good as they are. What's that all about? So these are situations where an event which is neutral can lead to negative, self-defeating, toxic self-talk. And here's some examples of the self-talk habits I'm talking about. If a client is short with me or cancels an appointment, it must be because of something I've done or I didn't do. Or because this client passed on my product. I failed with the client. I'm afraid I'm going to keep failing. Or I should have been able to close that sale. This is just one of many examples of toxic, negative self-talk that we have. There are many more listed in my book. And again, I'm going to show you how to get a free copy of my book at the end of this workshop. And they're in my course and they're in my private coaching, of course. But there are many common self-talk habits that you can learn to unlearn because you've been using them your whole life. What are some healthy core beliefs? Core beliefs that would make much more sense for you to walk around and adapt. How about this? I don't need to be perfect in order to be very successful. It would be nice to be liked by everybody, but that's unrealistic. I will continue to use my outstanding work ethic to prove to myself how good I am. What's the worst that can happen if? That's a key indicator that you need to say to yourself when you start to worry. What's the worst that can happen? Usually it's not anything as bad as you're thinking. How about this? I want to be seen and heard because I'm an important and smart person. Stop putting yourself down. And finally, I will choose to be assertive when the outcome may be in doubt, or when I need to do what I have to do, I'll choose to be assertive. We can do a whole workshop on assertiveness training, but let me just refer you to the best book ever been written on assertiveness, speaking up for yourself, not allowing yourself to getting intimidated. And guess what? You can get the book from Amazon, a used copy, for a penny. And it's the best book ever been written on this. Of course, they charge you $3.99 for shipping and handling, but for a penny, you can get this book. It's called Don't Say Yes When You Want to Say No. Don't say yes when you want to say no. The author's name is Fensterheim, F-E-N-S-T-E-R-H-E-I-M. Don't say yes when you want to say no. Now, let's pause for a moment and let me see if you have any questions. Well, I see one here from Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff says, isn't our mindset permanent? Can we really change it? You know, a lot of people, Jeff, think that the mindset is permanent, but it's not. Our mindset is fluid. It's under our control and it's changeable. All you have to do is decide that you want to change it and you start practicing how to do it. This is how I teach good athletes to become outstanding athletes and how I teach good insurance sales professionals to become outstanding world-class sales professionals. So thanks for that question. Matt asked a question, if our core beliefs have been instilled in us since we were young, how can we change them? Well, that's a very good question also. You might think, well, they've been instilled in us, we've repeated them hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, but you see, anything learned can be unlearned, and you are in control of that. And again, we're gonna see more how to do that today, but this is also in the book, it's in my course, and it's in my, my special class that I have that I'm giving you a discount on. It all teaches you, my master class, how to unlearn these things, which is the key to all of this. Now, once you have healthy self-talk, that leads to these kinds of attitudes. I feel in control. I'm feeling high self-esteem. I'm embracing mental toughness. I'm feeling hopeful. And I'm having optimistic expectations of the future. That's what's important. I'm having optimistic expectations of the future. Here's the second secret. Remember, the first secret was recognize these negative, toxic core beliefs you have. Secret number 2, challenge your toxic thoughts. Challenge every toxic thought instead of allowing it to fester in your mind. It's like junk festering there and impacting you for days and weeks. So let's say you're feeling anxious about something that's happened on your job. Ask yourself, where's the evidence to support my anxiety-producing thoughts? Let's say the thought was, what if my manager is upset with me? Well, first of all, your manager could be upset for any number of reasons, some of which may have nothing to do with even being in the office. So you ask yourself, is there any evidence to support this thought that my manager's upset with me? What's the probability that what I'm afraid of will actually happen? And may I be exaggerating the situation in my mind? Am I turning a minor setback into a major catastrophe? Is there any alternative explanation that would explain what happened or what will happen next? Are my conclusions based on emotions rather than facts? Am I using extreme words and phrases in my thoughts like, I always screw up, or I'll never be successful? Those are extreme words. Am I assuming the worst that will happen without any evidence of that? You see, these are the kinds of things that people do all the time. So secret 2 is always challenge your toxic thoughts. Now you're going to all get the recording of this, so you don't have to worry if I change slides before you can write things down or what have you. You'll be able to refer back to this many times. I see there are other questions now, and I'm going to try to access them. But instead of accessing the question, what I'm getting is the next slide. So I'm trying to carefully get to where I access the question. Okay, so Lyle says, is this NLP, neuro-linguistic programming? It's in that department. It is not neuro-linguistic programming, but it's in that department. These are all powerful skills. Howard says, will the webinar be available later? Yes, I'm going to send everybody the, or you can send me a note to remind me that you want the recording so you'll get this exact webinar with all the slides and everything. And Lyle says, if it really is NLP, how does it relate to my program and course? Well, it's a form of NLP, but it isn't completely NLP. And most people don't know what that is, so I really don't want to spend time getting into that right now, Lyle. But thanks for the question, and we can talk about that, you know, offline or what have you. So let me get now to the next slide. And of course, the next slide is going to be secret number 3. Reframe all of your toxic self-talk with healthy self-talk. That's the key. First, you recognize your toxic core beliefs. Then you recognize the self-talk that follows from the core beliefs. And finally, reframe the toxic self-talk with healthy self-talk. So the examples I gave you before. If a client is short with me or cancels an appointment, instead of saying what you said before and beating yourself up, you say, I will pursue this again, or I'll move on to the next opportunity. I used to tell this to athletes all the time. So what if you made a mistake? Move on to the next opportunity. If you keep focusing on the mistake, you'll miss the next opportunity. Because this client decided to pass, there are many reasons that have nothing to do with me. I'll learn from this and move on. Or there's no such thing as I should have closed the sale. It would have been great to close that sale, but I realize this is a numbers game. Again, it's time to look for the next opportunity. These are the healthy ways you can talk to yourself. And that's what I want to see you start to do, to find healthy ways to talk to yourself instead of toxic ways to talk to yourself. So a summary of your hidden potential for superior success. Remember, career success equals your talent plus your experience plus your product knowledge minus internal distractions. You need to recognize and limit the toxic core beliefs and the toxic self-talks. And always remember, your toxic self-talk sets you up for your self-talk sets you up for either success or failure. Toxic self-talk sets you up for failure. Nutritious self-talk, healthy self-talk sets you up for success. And self-talk always leads to attitudes. Attitudes always lead to actions, and actions always lead to results, either positive or negative. Let's go to another question. Susan asks, are you saying that our self-talk is the culprit in all of this? Absolutely, Susan. It is the culprit in all of this. One of the greatest discoveries in the field of psychology and psychotherapy in the last 30 years was that it's our self-talk that causes all of the problems, not the situation that happens. So now, by the way, in psychotherapy, someone comes in depressed, anxious, whatever the mood may be. Once we uncover the self-talk, we can start to eradicate that mood, as opposed to months and years of psychotherapy trying to figure out what went on in your life. Not necessary. So how do you learn about this? Again, you can take my masterclass, you can take my course and get 12 continuing education credits. You can get private coaching with me. There are multiple ways that you can change your life forever, just like every Olympic gold medal winner that I worked with. 4 easy ways to master the skills. Get a complimentary private phone session, claim your discount and take my masterclass on how to obtain superb sales success. Claim your discount and take my game-changing e-course worth 12 continuing education credits called How to Develop the Mindset of a Champion Financial Services Professional. Get my book, which I'll give you for free, The Financial Advisor's Ultimate Stress Mastery Guide. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, when you modify your self-limiting beliefs and self-talk, you modify your attitudes. Then you perform your best when it matters the most. Then you bring your A game to all sales situations, and then you bounce back quickly from adversity, such as losing a sale. We can sort of summarize this. I call it the 3 R's of superior performance. 1, recognize your toxic core beliefs and habits. Number 2, recognize the toxic self-talk habits that result from those core beliefs. And number 3, reframe or dispute all the self-talk habits with healthy self-talk. Now, because you've all stuck with me, I've decided to give you 3 bonus tips. 3 bonus tips or secrets. Bonus secret number 1, always develop a personal performance statement and repeat it every day. Now, what is a performance statement? Ask yourself these 2 questions. What does it take to give me the best chance of sales success? And write it down. And what is my process for performing my best? I should have said my best instead of your best. So an example that I got from an advisor or sales professional I was working with was, when I am in front of a prospective client, I listen carefully using active empathic listening skills. And once I understand what keeps him up at night, I can provide the solution. That is a performance statement. Now you may say, well, what are active empathic listening skills? Again, that's something I teach in the course. That's something I have mentioned in the book. And that's something I teach people individually. You can learn how to develop active empathic listening skills, which is a powerful boost to success. Bonus tip number 2. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to visualize what I call your personal highlight reel. Like there's a videotape going on in your mind of your best success. See, we all tend to visualize our failures and we cringe when we remember failures we've had or difficulties, but that's wrong. You need to think about your success. What was your greatest success? And visualize it in detail as if you're looking at it on TV right now. Then visualize your next sales call as if you're wearing a helmet camera. See yourself going into the meeting, the room, into the conversation, whatever. You look at all the details around and visualize every detail of the sales meeting, seeing success at each step. You're smiling at the client or potential clients. You're feeling very confident in what you're presenting. You know that you can help them. That's visualizing success. Very important to do that all the time. And you can visualize it easiest by recalling the ones that you've had before. Bonus secret number 3, have an identity statement, and I'll explain that in a second, and repeat that to yourself every day. Have these things written down. You can look at them when you're brushing your teeth. You can look at them when you're driving the car. You can look at them when you get to the office. What strength do you currently have or would you like to have? It could be one you don't have yet. What objective do you want to accomplish? Put both parts together as if you've already achieved the objective. So here's an example I got from another client. I am more motivated than my competition. Because I take a genuine interest in the lives of prospective clients, they trust me, and I am extremely successful closing business with them. Even if that's not where you are now, but that's where you want to be, I want you saying this to yourself every day as if it's already happened. That's how you start to affect your subconscious mind. It's a powerful skill. Now, I recognize that most of you listening to this will never do these things. It's sad. You'll leave here saying, oh, that was nice, and you'll go back to all your old habits. But you don't have to do that. You can decide that this is your pivot point to make a major change in your career and in your life by practicing these simple skills and learning others from me if you'd like to. But even with these skills I'm teaching you, it'll have a major impact. Now, you remember I told you about Steve before. I changed his name and called him Tom, but this is Steve. He followed the blueprint that I just gave you, and he learned about how he was sabotaging his own success with his self-talk and his core beliefs that were atrocious. And he learned how to unleash the psychological shackles that were holding him back. He learned how to change his internal conversation whenever he felt stressed, unsure, or afraid that he couldn't succeed. And he learned how to remain optimistic despite setbacks that are inevitable, and he could supercharge his success and release his true potential. These are all things that are in the grasp of your hand. You just have to know how to do them and practice them. That's what's critically important. Just practice them, just like you've been practicing the unfortunate negative things that you've been thinking about before. It really simply takes practice, and that's all it takes. So you just have to commit yourself to doing that. The same as if you were going on a weight loss program. You're only going to do it by changing something and practicing it, not by rationalizing, well, I'll do it tomorrow, or, maybe this is too hard. None of this is hard, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, I've been working with clients for 37 years. None of this is hard. You have the skills, you have the smarts, you have the ability to do all of these things. It's just the mindset, putting yourself in a position to wanting to do it. Now, I told you there were 3 amazing bonuses just for attending today. Bonus number 1, you can claim your major discount on my masterclass, Proven Psychological Secrets for Attaining Superb Sales Success. Again, this is the exact same blueprint for success that I've taught to 3 Olympic gold medal winners and hundreds of professional and world-class athletes. If you do that today, if you send me an email today saying you want to do that, I will lock in that $47 amazing cost, but that will not be here tomorrow. I promise. That's today. Bonus number 2, you'll get a major discount on my unique client event. A client event where you actually will pack the house with clients and get a ton of potential clients who will all say to themselves, oh my goodness, this advisor or this insurance producer, care so much about his or her clients that they're bringing a nationally renowned psychologist here to teach us how to live better and longer, maybe that's the person I need to do business with. And I'm telling you, this is normally $9,500 and you'll get it for $7,500 or zero. Well, what do I mean by zero? Zero, because many insurance carriers and wholesalers and other companies with whom you work are happy to underwrite this because it's a win-win for them. So we could talk about that. And bonus number 3, if you want to open more doors and close more business, and who doesn't? And at the same time, get credit for 12 continuing educations points, which you need, plus get a major discount. You can take my game-changing e-course at your own speed as many times as you want, how to quickly develop the mindset of a champion insurance producer and advisor. And again, if you contact me, I'll give you the $300 package. You simply email me with any of these requests, drjack@advisingtheadvisors.com. That's all you have to do is email me with any of these requests. I told you I'd be happy to provide you with a free confidential phone coaching session on any question you may have that you didn't want to bring up here. And I'll be happy to do that with no obligation for anything else. There's the link to connect with my schedule and schedule the free coaching session, http://bit.ly/free chat with Dr. Jack, and I'll be happy to do that. Now, let me give you one note. I am going to be leaving the country on Saturday. I'll be gone for a week. So any of you who send me emails that come after tomorrow, you won't get a response because I won't be in contact with my emails. So please don't think I'm ignoring you. Just be patient. I promise I will get back with you and I will give it to you at that time. So you'll be able to get that from me. Once again, before we finish, any final questions? Oh, here's an interesting question from Todd. It says, Dr. Jack, you said that everyone has the potential to be a sales winner and to accomplish success as a champion. How do you know that? And the answer is because research done in the field of psychology shows this to be clearly the case. We've used it not just with athletes and salespeople and people at work, but with anybody. That once you understand the negative core beliefs that have been operating in your mindset, once you understand how to change the self-talk that leads to that, then you can make anything happen. And one of the things I do with all my clients is I teach them self-hypnosis, another way of changing your mindset. You can make anything happen. I make recordings for them to use. So you can learn any of these things. Again, these are really wonderful questions, and I'm really glad that you asked them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really glad that you came. It really warms my heart that all of you came and listened to me, and please look forward to other ones that we're going to be doing in the future. But again, don't miss out on these bonuses, even the free consultation. You'll get a lot out of it, and a lot of people have told me they have just by having that one phone conversation with me. So again, thank you so much for taking your valuable time to listen to me today. I'm Dr. Jack Singer, and we're going to be talking to you down the road at other webinars. You make it a great day and start to change. This is the pivot point for you right now. Pivot point for success where you can start to change exactly now.